All right, let me share my screen really quick. PowerPoint, like always. Full screen here. Okay, so this week we're going to be doing resistance training for balance. So previously, weeks 2 and 3, we did resistance training for endurance strength, and then we followed that up with resistance training for strength, and then today we're doing it for balance. So balance is particularly important. I think I have a slide on this. Yes. Um, it helps with improving blood circulation, especially to the lower extremities, so your feet and your legs. Helps with balance and reduces fall risk, particularly for those who have experienced or are experiencing peripheral neuropathy. And if you don't know that scientific term, it's essentially numbness or tingling or pain in your hands or your feet, especially from treatment, usually. And that symptom is one of the most contentious ones because medication doesn't really do that much. Exercise hasn't been shown to improve the severity or the pain of peripheral neuropathy, but it has shown to improve the consequences of like numbness and tingling, especially in your feet, which again is like fall risk, or like your ability to sense how you're walking. So a lot of times when we fall, it's because we trip over ourselves, we don't see or feel an obstacle in our way, or we don't lift our feet up off the ground far enough. And those are all side effects or consequences of peripheral neuropathy. So exercise can help with that, which then in turn reduces fall risk. So the way that you want to train, and specifically with resistance training for balance, is that you want to add different movements in different directions. So a lot of times with exercise, we tend to stay in one spot and we usually go up and down and maybe side to side, but we don't actually move our body. We just kind of move our extremities, so our arms and our legs. So for balance training specifically, you want to actually move because in real life, we also move, right? We don't just stay in one spot. Walking is in one progression, going backwards, going forwards from side to side. And that translates to everyday activities. It's a very learned skill that you have to be very aware of doing exercises that take place in different directions. And you have to really practice that. Another way that you can train your balance is to create uneven surfaces. So unfortunately, the earth is not, a flat terrain, especially we know here in Pittsburgh, right? There are different curbs you have to step up and down from. There are hills, this uneven sidewalks. So you want to mimic that in your everyday exercise activities, and you can do that very easily. You could go out and buy a step, that they have for sale for exercise. You could do it easily, just like stepping from a different surface in your house, from a hardwood or tile to a carpet, or onto a thin pillow, or you could fold up a sweatshirt to make it a little bit thicker and step on that because it's a little bit softer. So then your body, specifically your ankles and your knees, have to learn kind of how to react to different surfaces and how they feel. And then you also want to incorporate one-sided movements that are slow and controlled. So very common examples that we know and have done are leg marches, lunges, or we know as split squats and toe taps, which we'll do some of those today. But those are one-sided exercises, and then you do them on the other side. And they're meant to be slow and controlled rather than fast, because when you're in that slow and controlled phase, your body and your mind work harder to keep your balance. And it's actually a really great point because I don't know if anyone's a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, but hockey players have been scientifically shown to be the athletes with the best balance. And if you think about it, it's because they move in so many different directions and they skate usually one leg at a time and they have to balance on one leg at a time. So if you want to think about you don't have to do exercise like a hockey player, but if you think about the movements of a hockey player, they are usually, going from one surface to the other. Their center of gravity and center of balance is very narrow, and they're moving in different directions. Okay, so reminders for today. Safety is the number one priority, especially if you're working on balance. If you don't have good balance already, you want to make sure that you take frequent breaks, not so much for, if you're tired, but to make sure you center yourself. If you're trying to do balance exercises and you're trying to go through the motions, you're going to get caught off balance and that increases your risk for falls. So really the objective is not to move fast, but to make sure that you are stable when you're doing the exercises. Be mindful of any side effects you may be feeling, fatigue, muscle pain, dizziness, short of breath, as always. And all the, very typical reminders, take breaks often, make sure you are stable. If you need to take the modified version because you're like, this balance exercise feels a little bit wobbly, that's okay because it takes time for your body and your mind to connect to make sure they understand that, like, hey, we're doing balance exercises. So try the modified version if you're feeling a little bit unstable. And then when you're like, okay, I understand the movement and the action of movement, then retry the unmodified version or the full exercise version. All right, so now we are going to exercise. So I'm going to stop sharing. So, like always, we're going to start with our warm-ups. For those who are capable and are willing to turn on their cameras if they're not on already, I would say specifically for balance, it's very important for me to be able to see and make sure you're doing the exercises properly. So if you're comfortable and you're able to turn on your cameras, again, I'm the only one being recorded. And so no one else is going to see you, and everyone else will not be able to see you anyways. So don't worry about that if that's one of your concerns. So we're going to start off seated first for the first warm up. We're going to do ankle rotations. We're going to get some blood flow in our lower extremities. So you're going to grab your chair first, and you're going to go ahead and have a seat. And I'm going to adjust my camera. Don't mind all of my furniture. We are renovating. So all boxes everywhere. Okay, so I'm gonna sit to the side so you can kind of see and I'll rotate to the front. So ankle rotations, we just want to get some movement in our ankles. Our ankles are super important for balance. It's because that's where the movement starts and it works our way up to the joints. So you need at least two joints to walk, and ankle stability is definitely one of those. So you can sit back in your chair. You're gonna extend one leg out. You can start with the right or left, doesn't matter. And similar to wrist circles, we're just going to do that with our ankles. You don't have to go fast. Don't go super fast. Nice and slow, pushing into each side as you make a full circle with your ankles. You want to do 5 clockwise, nice and easy. And when you're done 5 clockwise, you want to do 5 counterclockwise on one leg. Let's go ahead and do that. After you've done 5 clockwise, counterclockwise, I want you to push up and down. So you're flexing and extending, pointing the toes up and then pointing the toes forward. And we're going to do 5 up and 5 down. So 5 clockwise, 5 counterclockwise, and then we're going to go 5 up and then 5 down. Okay. Once you're finished with that one leg, shake it out a little bit, and then you just switch to the other leg. Again, 5 clockwise, and then 5 counterclockwise. And then after 5 counterclockwise, we go 5 up and 5 down. Again, no need to go fast. The point is that we're engaging our joints and our ankles and getting some blood flow. If your leg starts to get tired from holding your feet out, you can relax your leg and then switch to the other one and then come back to the other one. No need to hold it for too long. All right. Go ahead and finish up with that. No rush for those who are still going. For those who are already done, the next one we're going to do is calf raises. So if you're seated, you can go ahead and stand. If you are going to do the calf raises seated, go ahead and stay seated. So calf raises again, I like to put the chair out to the side, light touch, and you're just going to go straight up on your toes, hold for 2 seconds, and come back down, just like that. No need to go fast. You want to keep your feet about hip width apart to keep a bit of a steady base. The closer your feet are together, the less sturdy your base. And the further apart, obviously, the more sturdy your base. So nice and easy. So we're going to do 10 of those. I didn't say already. For those who are doing seated, go ahead and do that. For those who are seated, you're just going to sit down and you're just going to go straight up on your toes and hold for 2 seconds. And 10 of those. Sitting nice and tall, make sure we're not slumping. Here we're activating our calf muscles, which are extremely important for balance. All right. So those of you who are already done, The next one we're going to go into is arm circles. You can do that seated or standing. Those who are still doing calf raises, please continue to do so. So I'm going to do sitting just because I'm already seated. The arm circles, again, out to the side. If you can't go all the way out and you have to bend your arms, that's okay. Or if you have to come down here, just hit box. So we're going to go 10 to the front. Make sure our shoulders are nice and relaxed. If you feel like your shoulders are up to your ears, bring them back down. Again, no need to go fast. 10 to the front. And then when you're done with 10 to the front, you can go 10 to the back. And you can do this standing or seated, it doesn't really matter, as long as you're getting. Then you reverse when you're done. I have notoriously bad shoulders, so this hurts a little bit, but that's okay. I just shake out my arms, get a little blood flow, and I just keep going. All right. For those who are done with arm circles, the next we're going to do toe taps. So if you're standing, stay standing. If you're seated and you can stand back up, go ahead and do that. And if you're still finishing up arm circles, go ahead and continue. And I'm just going to demonstrate the toe taps. So toe taps is a really good introduction exercise to moving in different directions. We're going to stay stationary with one leg, and one leg is going to do different movements. All right, so I'm going to stay standing. See if I can do this with the camera. Move my chair so I don't accidentally kick it. So I'm going to stay stationary or still with my left leg, and my arm is on my hip, and I'm going to move just my right leg. So I'm going to move my right leg. I'm going to tap my toe in the front, bring it back to center, tap my toe to the side, bring it back to center, and then tap my toe in the back, bring back to center. So it's kind of like dancing. Front, center, side, center, back, center. So we want to do 5 on the right leg and then 5 on the left leg. So front, center, side, center, back, center. A thing to note is that you do not have to keep the left leg or the leg that's still absolutely straight. You don't want to lock out your knee. You can slightly bend as you move forward and as you move to the side and then as you move to the back. So protect that knee, do not lock it out. Give it a slight bend as you move through, because that's just a natural movement. So front, side, and then back. All right, so we're gonna move back to the left leg moving, and then the right leg is still. So again, front, tap, back to center, side to center, and then back to center. And that's 1 repetition. So then you go front, again, side, again, and then back again. And that's the second one. So do 5 of those, so 3 more. Okay, so keep going, nice and easy. Again, you don't have to go fast. For those who are doing it seated, it's the same exact motion, just seated. So sit down, you want to sit on the edge, it's a little bit easier. You tap in the front, you tap in the side, and then you tap to the back a little bit. It's not the most perfect movement, but the point is you're engaging the muscles that require you to move in different directions. All right? Nice and easy. 1 more. Good. All right. Anyone have any questions about those warm-ups? I know a little bit are different than we did last week. Okay, good. All right, so I guess we're ready to exercise then. All right, so the first exercise we have not done before is ankle flexion. So you will need a band, and then you will need a chair. So if you don't have those already, go ahead and grab that. All right, so I'm gonna sit down, adjust my camera for you. So this is very similar to the warm-ups that we were doing in the very beginning with we were flexing our ankle down, kind of like stepping on the gas. We want to make sure our ankles are nice and strong and stable because they are, again, the first point of contact for movement, especially for balance. So I'm going to see if I can angle my camera for you. So what you want to do is similar to how we do seated rows where we put the band around our foot. You don't want it right in the middle. You want it a little bit underneath your toes, like the ball of your feet. but make sure it's secure because you don't want it snapping back in your face. Again, that has happened to me and it hurts a lot. So don't do what I did. All right, so similar to seated row, you want to grab with both hands and lift your leg and feet slightly off the ground. You don't need it super high, maybe about 4 inches, 6 inches. And because the band is around the ball of your foot, that is where you're going to make the action as if you're pressing the gas pedal. So you're not moving your legs, you're just moving your feet. So if you're pushing your leg and your knee is moving, that is not the correct motion. The only joint that's moving is your toes. You're just pointing your toes down. And the band is providing the resistance to help push your ankle down. I'm going to do 10 of those. So again, the only thing that's moving is your ankle. Anyone have any questions or confused? No. Okay. So you're gonna do 10 of those on your right or whatever foot that you started on. After you've done 10, you're gonna nice and slowly take off the band and you're gonna switch to the other foot. So again, the band goes under the ball of your feet, underneath your shoe. You grab with both hands, slightly lift your foot off the ground like 4 inches, very, very little. And again, the only thing that's moving is your ankle pressing down, again, like you're pressing the gas pedal or the brake pedal. Pointing your toes down. Again, don't do this where you're just moving your ankle really fast. Nice controlled movements where you're pressing down conscientiously. Make sure you have a nice grip on that band. Okay, you don't want it swinging any which way at you. Again, 10 and 10 on each side. No rush. Are you breathing? So when you exhale, you want to exhale when you push down. That's when you're exerting. You exhale when you exert. That helps. All right. All right. So why don't you go ahead and finish up those 10 on each side? If you're already done, great. You can, shake out your ankles a little bit. If you're still finishing up, there's really no rush. I'm going to set up for the next one. The next one's going to be standing. So we're going to stand up and we're going to do a new version of our standing marches. All right. Let's see. All right. So what you're used to, what we usually do in our warm-ups is that we do standing marches where we just march in place, right? And we're going to continue to do that, but now we are adding our arms. So it's going to be a little bit more complex. We're going to activate a different area of our brain at the same time. So normally what you see is cross-body crunches where we go like this. We don't want to do that. We don't want to put any pressure on the spine, especially for those who might have osteopenia, osteoporosis, or any lytic lesions in the spine. So to keep our spine nice and safe, what we're going to do instead is that we're going to go right elbow to right knee, and then left elbow to left knee. If you can't get as high as I can, that's okay. You just go as high as you can go. But you just want to make sure you're moving the elbow and knee at the same time. It might feel and look a little bit goofy, especially especially if you're not used to using all of your limbs at the same time in an exercise, but that's the point, is that we want to coordinate all of those because coordination is one of the very, very key prerequisites for balance. So again, we're going to go like this. I mean, even my elbows don't meet my knees, and that's okay. The point is that we're doing that. So we're going to do 10 on each side. Okay? If you feel silly, you're not the only one, and it doesn't matter. If you are doing this seated, keep going. If you're doing it standing, you're doing it seated, it's the same exact motion, but I'd rather you sit on the edge of the chair instead of going all the way back. Elbows up, and then the same thing. Knee to elbow. Just like that. 10 on each side. You shouldn't feel any pain. Just nice, coordinated movements. And if that means you need to go slower to be like, okay, right elbow to right knee, Now left elbow to left knee, then slow down the movement. If you feel like you're traveling in terms of like, I'm moving to this side and then my knee is going like this way, slow down your movement, nice and slow. You can see my body doesn't really move in any direction except my knee to my elbow, right? So nice and easy. So 10 on each side. And you can see we spend time on just one leg for a couple of seconds every time we, switch repetition to repetition. That itself is, not easy. So if you're finishing up, go ahead, no rush. Again, do not rush through your balance exercises. I'm going to set up for the next one. We're going to do an upper body exercise. You will need your band and you'll still stay standing if you are able to. We're going to do lateral raise. So if you remember, you might need to sit down and put the band on, but put the band around our lower thighs above our knees. And then we put one arm in, and then that's when we stretch out our arm. So if you can, go ahead and sit down and put the band over your knees. Again, I have a heavy band because I did not plan ahead, and so now I have to suffer with a heavy band. Okay, so if you're doing it seated, you're going to do the exact same motion, just sitting down. I'm going to stand up. So instead of doing the lateral raise, if you need to raise it up a little bit, that's okay. If you need to do, we usually lateral raise with our feet together. We just want to challenge ourselves a little bit. So we're going to do a staggered stance, meaning you put either your left foot or your right foot in front of the other. So we're just going to stagger a stance and I'm going to show you. So instead of feet together, I'm going to put my right leg in front. So now we're creating an uneven center of gravity or center of base for our balance. Doesn't matter right or left. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever you are comfortable with. So once you're in that staggered stance, then you put your arm in the band. My right leg is in front. My right arm is in the band. And again, the lateral raise is just bringing our arm out as far as you can to the side. I have a very heavy band, so I can't go very far, but that's okay. So if it's from the front, again, my feet are separated. My right arm is in the band, and this is as far as I can go out because my band is very heavy. If you feel like my band is very heavy too, then take one leg out, but still stagger your feet and put your hand in your band. Whatever you feel like you need to be able to do the exercise, do that. If you are doing it seated, I'll show you. So you're going to do 10 on each side. So right arm 10, switch to left arm. If you are doing it seated, again, sitting down, arm in the band, and again, you're going to try to lift your arm out to the side as high as you can. If you can go further, stronger than I am, because this is as far as I can get, and that's okay. Right? Once you're done with one arm, 10, again, switch to the other side, 10. Make sure you keep your feet staggered. If you feel when your feet are staggered, you're a little bit off kilter, then you can maybe widen your stance, but still keep your feet apart from each other, or you might need to keep them a little bit closer. Find what works for you that's still challenging, but not scary, where you're like, I don't know if I can do this. Your thought should be like, oh, this is new, not, oh no, this is new. All right. So finish up those 10 on each side. Again, no rush. If you feel like you need some water, please grab some. We're going to get rid of the bands for right now if you are done. So go ahead and get those off your legs and just put them to the side for the time being. All right. For those who are ready, I'm going to demonstrate the next one. It's going to be done standing. We're going to do side lunges with a march. So similar to the exercise we did last week and the week before, which were side lunges. Again, we're moving in a different direction. but we're adding an extra movement for complexity. So if you remember, make sure I not run into a box. So left leg, right leg, hands on hips. So if I step out to the right, remember we did our side lunge, we bend our right knee, we push our butt back, and then we came back to standing into the center. This week, we're going to add a march to that side lunge. So I want you to just watch this first and then try it afterwards rather than doing it at the same time. So right leg out, bend my right knee, push my butt back, and then come back, and then march, and then back to center. So again, step out, bend my knee, push my butt back, push up into a march, and then back to center. If you try to do this really fast, you will most likely fall over. So nice and controlled so that you are thinking about the steps of the exercise to maintain your balance. So again, step out to the side, push your butt back while bending your knee, come back up, do a march, and then back to center. Out, bend my knee, push my butt back up, into a march, back to center. So let's do 5 on the right leg and 5 on the left leg. Again, do not rush through the exercise. I'm going to switch sides and show it again. Out, bend my knee, push my butt back, come back up, come back to center. I can do it from the side too if you'd like. Out to the side, push my butt back, come back up, and then whoops, march and back to center. If you are doing this seated, continue. If you're doing it standing, if you're doing the seated version, all I want you to do is sit on the edge of your chair, side tap as far as you can go, come back up, and do a seated march, and then relax. So side tap, come back, seated march, center. So 5 for you too on each side. You're doing is seated. So again, to the side, back, seated march, back to center. Anyone confused or want me to re-demonstrate or re-explain? If you're good, and from what I'm seeing, everyone looks really good. So again, think about the steps. Nice. If you're not getting it on the first 10 tries, don't be surprised. Our brain is now like, wait, we're connecting 2 different things at the same time on a Thursday afternoon? Unbelievable. Yes.
I'm having trouble sticking my butt out. I'm not really sure. Like that doesn't, I feel like I'm not doing it right.
Okay. So your butt should naturally stick out in terms of like, if you're bending the knee, it
Yeah.
should be just so you're pushing your butt back. You want to like push your hips back.
And it's my,
So I like to put my hands on my hips because I can feel the bending of the body.
am I leaning forward? Am I arching my back? What should I be?
You don't want to arch your back. You are leaning forward just because it's the natural motion. If you push your butt back, something has to kind of give, right? So if you can see, I want to see if I can step further out for you. Okay. So like this, you can see my upper body is now going down a little bit
Uh-huh.
and coming back up. So if I push myself, my butt back, my upper body has to compensate by going back, by going down as well.
Okay.
So let me see. Go ahead and try it and I'll take a look. Oh, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. So you might not, if you're trying to compare how I'm doing it to what you're doing, if the mechanics are the same, they're the same. However, our flexibility levels might be different. So the amount that you can push your butt back and you can flex your upper body because of your hip flexors and your hip extensors are going to be different. Right. So as time goes on, you become more flexible and you get stronger, then you are able to get more range of motion. So your range of motion might be restricted at this point in time, but the more you do it, the more range of motion you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Okay, is everyone good on those side lunges with March? All right. The next exercise is going to be done standing. And if you don't have if you have something, I'm going to be using a pillow. If you have something similar, I have also an outdoor patio chair cushion. You can use that. If you don't have any of those, do you have a towel that you could step on, something squishy, or a sweatshirt, a jacket, anything you don't mind putting your feet on. It doesn't have to be super thick. It doesn't have to be super soft. It just has to be something different than whatever surface that you're currently standing on. Okay. So I'm going to use this pillow. You can take your shoes off if you want, so that you're not stepping on it with your shoes if that's a concern, which I totally get, which is probably what I'll do now anyways. So I'm going to take off my shoes very quickly. So I'm going to step to the side so you can see my feet. Very carefully. You're just going to step onto the pillow. As you can see there, I didn't lose my balance, but that was a little bit tricky. As wide as you can get. If your pillow is small and you can't put both feet on it while standing comfortably still, then it's okay to have just 1 foot on, 1 foot off. It doesn't matter if it's both feet. It's 1 foot on, 1 foot off. So that's what I want your feet to be on. Okay? I'm gonna step off the camera. So the pillow is only to act as an unsteady base. We're actually doing an upper body exercise. So I'm standing on my pillow. We're going to be doing scap squeezes. So arms out in front of us, and we're going to pull back as if we're doing a row. So elbows to our sides, squeezing our shoulder blades together. But we are standing on an unsteady surface. Make sure you're not looking up. Make sure you're not looking down. We are looking forward and we're standing nice and tall. Again, if you feel unsteady with 2 feet on the unsteady surface, take one off and just stand one on each. So 10 scap squeezes for us. Make sure you pick a point in front of you and concentrate on that. Make sure you're breathing. We're exhaling when we pull back and just relax. Make sure our shoulders are not anywhere near our ears. We want to be nice and relaxed. You're like, oh, this is too easy, Melanie. What are you talking about? Okay, then stand on one leg. And again, if you're going to step off, make sure you're conscientious of you're not slipping off of the pillow because I just did that. So you want to step off 1 foot at a time, especially if you have some balance issues. So go ahead and finish up those scap squeezes on the pillow and step off if you haven't already. All right, so the last exercise before we do the whole cycle again, I want to introduce to you our seated crunches. So you're going to do this seated. So grab your chair. I'm going to do it side so you can see me. Follow me. So we're going to sit on the edge of our chair. So if you sit on the back of your chair, you're not going to be able to do the exercise properly. So again, scoot towards the edge. We're going to have our arms over our chest, touching our shoulders. We're going to start nice and tall, our back straight. We do not want to slump our back over. Nice and straight up. We're going to pick somewhere in front of us and use that as our focus. And we're going to go slowly back and then come back up like a crunch. And then come back up. We're going to do 10 of those. So there's temptation to just kind of throw ourselves back to the back of the chair and then come back up. We don't want to do that. So you might want to use the back of your chair as kind of an indication of like, oh, that's where I should stop, rather than resting on it. So nice and easy. And you may be like, I don't feel anything. What you are working are your stabilizer muscles, right? So those are the ones that are controlling that slow movement down and then preventing you from just slumping back into the back of the chair. So that's what we're working on. I'm going to do 10 of those. So nice and straight backed. We don't want to slump over. And you're like, when do I exhale? You exhale when you exert back up. Okay. I like these because I don't have to get on the ground. I don't have to feel like I'm yanking on my neck or holding my neck up when I'm doing crunches, which really serves no purpose whatsoever. I particularly feel more stabilized and I'm feeling like I'm engaging more of my trunk muscles when I do this exercise because I have an indication of when to stop and when to sit back up straight. Okay, so 10 of those. All right. So how do we feel? We covered a couple new exercises and we did a whole set. All right, so if you want to get some water, please do so. We're going to run through those 6 exercises again for one more set, and then we'll have our cool down, and then you'll be free to go on your Thursday evening. Okay? Any questions before we get into the second set? Anyone have any concerns or you want something harder? All right. I'm going to put my shoes back on because I realized I didn't put them back on after stepping on my couch pillow. So let's do that. If you're ready to get started, again, we're going to do the ankle flexion with the band. So you need your chair and you need your resistance band. So go ahead and grab those if you don't have them already. I'm going to get set up so that you can see me. My camera. Again, so we're going to do 10 on each side, 10 right foot, 10 left foot, or vice versa. You take your band, you're going to put it around the bottom of the ball of your feet, similar to how we do a seated row. Make sure you grab with both hands. Extend your leg out. Your foot comes about 4 inches off the ground, no more than 6. Again, the only joint and only thing that's moving is your ankle pointing down. Like you're pressing that brake or that gas pedal, or you're pointing your toes like a ballerina. Nice and easy, but we're using the strength of our ankle to push and push that resistance band down. Again, 10. You feel like your knee is moving, you're moving the wrong joint. So just the ankle for 10. If you're like, oh, this is easy, that means you need a different band. So try to grab a heavier one. If you're like, I don't feel any resistance at all, because your band is too light. All right, I'm going to switch. I think that was way more than 10. Again, under the ball of your feet, but nice and secure so then snap back in your face. Extend your leg out. Foot is about 4 to 6 inches off the ground. And again, just pressing down. You exhale when you press down. If you've ever had an ankle sprain, rolled your ankle, which I'm sure most people, if not everyone, has one time in their life. I heard this from an orthopedic surgeon once that if you ever injure your ankle, you are exponentially at a higher risk of injuring it again and again and again. So one of the ways to prevent that is by strengthening your ankles and by doing resistance training. All right, we're done 10. We're good. 10 and 10 on each side. Go ahead and finish up if you haven't finished yet. The next is going to be elbows to knee marches. So you're going to get rid of the band and the chair. And you're going to head and stand back up. If you're doing the exercise seated, you can obviously stay seated. Change my camera angle slightly. Okay, so remember, right elbow to right knee, left elbow to left knee. You don't want to you don't want to go from side to side. You relatively want to stay pretty straight, but the coordinated movement is what you want. So if you have to literally say out loud, left knee to left elbow, right elbow to right knee, left elbow to left knee, let's do that. If you feel like you're pulling up and you're like, oh no, and I'm stepping out to the side, don't go so high, just slight, because the whole point is to keep your balance. You're not working on your balance if you're just falling over from side to side. So you work your balance by keeping your balance. So if that means only 6 inches off the ground for the first few times you're doing this, then so be it. So as high as you can go while keeping stable. So 10 on each side. If you're doing it seated, remember you're just sitting down, same motion, right elbow, right knee, right elbow, left knee, right elbow, right knee, left elbow, left knee. 10 on each side, same motion. Again, you want to keep stable. If your knees are too high, feel like you're falling over, that's not correct. You want to go as high as you are able to while not falling over. So 10 on 10 on each side. Go ahead and finish up, no rush. If you're already finished with that, the next one we're gonna do is a lateral raise with your staggered feet. So you're gonna need your band. I'm gonna put it on only one leg this time. You wanna do about mid to lower thigh, depending on how long your arms are. You're gonna stand back up. Again, you want staggered feet. So what that means is that rather than being side by side, my one leg is gonna be in front of the other. It could be right, it could be left, doesn't matter. It's gonna look like this. All right, pull that back up. Once you have your staggered stance, your arm goes in the band and you're going to lateral raise, so arm out to the side as high as you can for 10 of those. And you remember you exhale when you pull out. If you're doing it seated, exact same motion. You're just sitting down, sure, and just like that. All right, for those standing, remember stagger your stance, so one foot in front of the other.
Melanie, where are you supposed to feel it?
So you feel it in your upper arm,
Okay.
so your tricep, and you might not feel it in your lats, but you're activating your lats as well. So you might feel it the most immediate in your triceps.
Okay. I kind of feel it in my shoulder.
If you're feeling in your shoulder, your arm might be too straight and you're
Uh-huh.
using
Okay.
like that leverage point. So try to slightly bend your elbow
Okay.
and pull out to the side. I mean, you might feel it in your shoulder. I'm not saying you won't because your triceps extend into your shoulder, but it shouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
exclusively up here.
Okay. Thank you.
So slightly bend your elbow a little bit. After you've done 10 on the one side, go ahead and switch 10 on the other side. So for me, that means I have to take the band off and put it on the other side. If that's for you too, go ahead and do that. So again, staggered stance, one foot in front of the other. I'm doing 10. Looking very, very good. All right. After you've done 10, go ahead and put that band to the side. Okay, I'm gonna shake out my arms because building my shoulders. The next one we're going to be doing is the side lunge to march. Okay, so lower this a little bit. So if you remember, hands on hips, my right leg is going to go out first. Side lunge, bend my right leg, my right knee, push my butt out, come back up into a march. And then back up into a march and centered. If you have to break this down into multiple steps for you to do the exercise and be stable, then do that. So what I mean by that is if I have to step out, bend my knee, push my butt back, come back up, go back to center, and then do a march, and then relax, that's okay too. It's all the same movement in just compartments. So we're going to do 5 on each side. And then up. So we're challenging, if you can see, both legs. We're lunging with the right leg, we're balancing on the left leg. So take it nice and easy. Switch to my left leg now. Out, bend, up, center, and then a march. For those who are doing it seated, remember, sit on the edge of your chair. You want to side tap, come back, and then a seated march. Side tap, center, seated march. You do 5 on one side, then you switch to the other side. Side tap, center, seated march. Side tap, center, seated march. So 5 and 5, regardless if you're sitting or if you're standing. Using all of the different muscles and all of the different directions. It feels really nice. All right, go ahead and finish those up if you're still working on those. Again, no rush. If you're ready to move on, the next one we're going to be doing is scap squeezes on a pillow or cushion of some sort. So go ahead and grab that. For those who are ready, if you need water, grab some water. Take off my shoes, grab my pillow. So again, nice and easy onto the pillow. So one foot, stabilize, next foot, stabilize, okay? Again, if you feel like, ooh, I don't like this, or if your cushion is really thick and you're like, I don't want 2 feet on there, center your one foot and then put the other one on the ground. You don't have to have both, whatever you're comfortable with. So once you've figured out your footing, we'll have both feet, arms out in front, and we're going to squeeze our scaps back. So it's just, I'm gonna go from side. Arms out front, squeeze to the side. You wanna make sure your elbows stay glued to your side. I think Adeline likes to use, if we had lemons in our armpits, we wanna squeeze them. We exhale when we push our shoulder blades together. But exhale when we squeeze back. So do 10 of those. So nice and easy. For those who can't do it on the pillow, do the scap squeezes on the floor. Or if you need to do it seated, do it seated. So I'm gonna sit down. On the edge, I'm just doing the same motion. No disadvantage. Or if it's from the side, if you need a side view, I'm sitting on the edge. I'm squeezing and rowing my shoulder blades together. 10 of those if you haven't done them already. Very nice. All right, for those who are finishing up, go ahead and do that. For those who are ready, the next one is seated crunches. So you're gonna grab your chair. I'm gonna do it on the side profile. Remember, we're gonna sit on the edge of our chair. We do not want to be sitting with our back resting, even though we might be tired. I want to just relax. We're almost done. So seated on the edge, arms over our chest, touching our shoulders. We're gonna sit up nice and tall. Make sure our shoulders are not touching our ears. And we're gonna go slowly back. And then exhale and come back up. Similar to an actual crunch that you would do on the floor. But the motion is nice and slow and controlled on the way back, and then crunching up. If you feel like you have some back pain, you don't need to go maybe as far back, just as far as you're able to go before you feel that pain, and then you come back up. Nice and easy. Pick a point in front of you and use that point to make sure your head and your back stay straight. You don't want to slump. You don't want to just kind of fall backwards. It's a controlled movement. If I didn't say it already, we're going to do 10 of those. And remember, we're exhaling on the way up. If you feel like you're shaking, like your core or your stomach or whatever you want to call it, your trunk is shaking on the way down, it's because your body is like, ooh, I need to stabilize. And that's good. You're activating those stabilizing muscles. So it's not a bad thing. Doesn't mean you're weak. It's just you're tapping into those muscles. And exhale. So go ahead and finish up 10 if you haven't already done so. Right. For those who can see, looks really good. All right, perfect timing. So we're gonna go ahead and start our cool down. The first we're gonna do is a neck stretch. So you're probably familiar already with this. If you have some neck issues, you do not have to use your hands to assist you. You can just use gravity. If you are okay with using your hands, that's what we're going to do. Right hand behind our head on the right side and pull down. Nice and easy. Don't yank your neck down. Feel that stretch in the back of your neck. You want to hold for about 15 seconds. Okay. After 15, slowly come back up. Use our left arm or left hand on the other side and pull down just very gently. All right. After you're done 15 seconds, go ahead and pull your arms down. I just want to do a few neck rotations. 5 clockwise, 5 counterclockwise. Nice and slow. No need to go exorcism style. We're just rolling our head around. Nice and easy. Our ability to turn our head is extremely important in balance because our head essentially is like our rudder, or I don't know boats, but it's our sense of direction. When we want to turn, we turn our head and then we turn our body. For those who can't or don't do it properly, that's the first step to falling because you don't have a vision of where you're supposed to be turning to. So if you have some limitations in your neck of range of motion in your neck, you want to make sure you're doing these stretches to get those range of motion. All right, actually feels really nice. I've been stuck at my desk all day. Okay, the next one is going to be doing is lower body. It's the figure 4 stretch, if you remember. So you're going to sit down. You're not already seated. If you remember figure 4, go ahead and do it. If not, that's okay. I'm going to sit on the edge of my chair. Right leg up, ankle over the knee, similar to how a gentleman sits down. I'm going to take a big inhale in, and as I exhale, I'm going to slightly lean my upper body forward. No need to go super hard or super far. You should feel the stretch kind of like in that glute and hip socket area. If putting your leg at 90 degrees is too strenuous or too hard, you can always extend your leg out and give yourself a little bit more room in this area, and that's okay. Flexibility is a hard thing to come by. It just takes time and repetition. You're gonna hold that for about 15 to 20 seconds. And that should feel good, especially in your glute area, which we worked a lot today. All right. You want to slowly put that leg down, or just throw it down, and then switch legs. So my left leg is going to come up onto my right leg. So ankle over knee. Big inhale in, and as you exhale, you slowly bend forward. Nice and easy. Make sure you're breathing. And again, if you feel too tight in your glutes and your hip socket, you can always extend that bottom leg out and give yourself a little bit more room. So 15 to 20 seconds. Okay. After you've done that, go ahead and gently put your leg down. The next we're going to do is a trunk extension. So you're going to stay seated. I'm going to stay on the side and then I'll flip to the front so you can see both points of view. You're going to put both arms, you're going to grab both sides of your chair if you're able to, or at least just, as far as you can go. You're going to extend your trunk and you're going to stretch your whole trunk just like this. And throw my head back. So I'm going to do it to the front so you can see what that actually looks like if it's too confusing. So I'm sitting here, I'm grabbing. I'm going to look backwards or as up as I can. And I'm going to extend my trunk upwards. You might feel this in your back, your shoulder blades. You can feel it in your abs. You can feel it in your chest. It really depends on how flexible or not flexible you are in certain areas. But as long as you're trying to sit up as straight as you can and you look up, don't look back, look up. Okay, and then relax, look forward. All right, kind of shake out your shoulders, and you want to do that one more time. So again, I like to grab my chair because it gives you a focal stable point. And then I push my head back. I'm stretching. I specifically feel it in the back of my shoulder and my shoulder blades. I feel it slightly in my neck, slightly in my abs, just because I sit all day. You want to make sure you're breathing. Nice and easy. When you're done, go ahead, relax, face forward. All right. So we're all done with our balance exercises today. How are we feeling about them? Good. So I hope that you're connecting the pieces of the different exercises now that we're putting them together. That's not to say that these exercises specifically are only for balance. You could absolutely do these exercises if you're trying to build strength. All you have to do is just add weight, or do more repetitions of them, as you become more skilled in putting the different exercises together in the different parts. Okay. So next week is week 7, which is unfortunately the last week for this session, and we'll be doing the post-exercise assessments. And you're probably like, oh, I don't really want to do that, but you'd be very surprised at how well everyone has progressed. So in the past, we've done, long story short, a statistical analysis to see how people have changed over time. And I think Jen incorporated into the grant that helped fund Cancer Bridges and Happy Feet. There were huge, huge improvements across, I think, almost everybody that did Happy Feet. And you may not feel it, but it's definitely demonstrated in the assessment. So if you can show up, please come. We'll do warm-ups, we'll do some exercises, and then we'll get into the assessments. And then we can have a Q&A if we have some time for you to kind of get you along your way onto your exercise journey. So, but between then, now and then, I would suggest redoing this exercise session once it's posted so you can get an idea and give yourself some time to learn how to connect the different exercises together.